of the many other gentlemen from Illinois.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I thought inapt was a pretty good word. It's not suitable, kind of incorrect. That's all it really means. I know English is my second language, but I thought I'd look it up for everybody here. It's really a pretty nice word. We've said liar, hypocrite, silly here. Inapt seems pretty, I don't know, not very good. Biting, yeah, it wasn't, I don't know. But inapt, for those learning English language, just means not suitable. I don't think anybody's word's going to be taken down.
Would the gentleman yield?
Sure.
I'll yield to the gentleman from...
I thank the gentleman from New York and Illinois. It was an entirely suitable argument. If the president hadn't created DACA and DAPA, we wouldn't have the subject before us here today. That is my point. It was apt, not inapt, to bring up that argument. I return my time.
I'll yield to the gentleman from Illinois again.
Thank you so much. I thank the gentleman from New York. So, look, the majority had an opportunity to go to federal court, and yet they decided not to. They challenged every other one of President Obama's executive orders, every last one of them. This one they didn't. When President Obama tried to expand on DACA and DAPA, they went to court. They left the 750,000 recipients of DACA alone. I think that speaks volumes. Of course, now what they figured they couldn't win in court, either judicially or in the court of public opinion, they want to win here today. Mr. Chairman?
The gentleman from Illinois seek recognition.
I do. I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. So this has been a long process. So I want to thank Mr. Snyder. I want to thank Congresswoman from California, Zoe Lawford, for making the arguments, because I think it's an important one. Now, what I really think is so upsetting about this is that 750,000 people who came here as children, that is, this is the Judiciary Committee. We probably would not put responsibility for children for coming with their parents to the United States as children, since they didn't have any choice in the matter, came to this country. Now, they pledge allegiance to the same flag my children pledge allegiance to. The only country that they know, and for the most part the only language that they speak, is English, the same language that my children speak. They're American in everything, in terms of their loyalty, in terms of who they are, in everything but a simple piece of paper. And one day, hopefully sooner than later, we'll get them that piece of paper. The point being is they did exactly what most people think they should do. They registered with the government. Now, in order to register with the government, what did they have to do? They had to provide their fingerprints so that they could go through an exhaustive background check. Now, who did the background check? Well, it's going to be a lot more thorough than the background check that the ICE officers are going to have to go through, because they went through a background check by the law enforcement security officers of the United States of America, the FBI. And they found their records to be clean and impeccable. So they were given what? A Pell Grant? No. The right to any public services? No. What they're giving is the opportunity to get a work permit so they can get a Social Security card so they could work, go to school, and pay taxes, and yet not be able to derive any of the benefits that those tax dollars go to. None. And here's what we have, and this is why I'm happy Congressman Snyder brought it up. In Chicago, we got young people who right now this month are graduating. You know what they're graduating from? Medical school. And they're getting ready to be doctors. Others are doctors. And I assure you they take excellent care of those of us that were born in the United States of America. Thousands of them are school teachers across the United States of America, helping to educate and having a true vocation for inspiring our young people to knowledge. Now think, school teachers, nurses, doctors, engineers, and they're all paying taxes. I think the real problem here is when you strip everything away and you allow people to come forward, you see that most Americans don't see them as something demonic, don't see them as people who have, watermelons on their legs, crossing the borders. See them as human beings, see them as their neighbors. I'm happy that they've come forward, because in coming forward, what they have done is they've truly instructed the rest of us in who they are. Now, the President of the United States does have the discretion. I'm happy he used that discretion. And I would just like to add the following. The only reason this isn't in law is because the actual Republican sponsors of the DREAM Act, when it came up for a vote, refused to vote for cloture. Let's be clear. The Republican sponsors of the DREAM Act refused to vote for cloture because they were pressured by their extreme right wing. I think that's unfortunate. But we have seen that happen time and time again. When I joined the Judiciary Committee, just for those who weren't here, I remember coming here, 8 years ago, and there was one hearing after another hearing about how it was we were going to reform the immigration system. Both sides of the aisle, both sides of the argument, wherever. When I introduced immigration reform in 2004, Paul Ryan, the current Speaker of the House, yes, was a co-sponsor of comprehensive immigration reform, and he joined me in Chicago. I think it's unfortunate that we're at this place today when just recently we were at a place. Give us a vote any day of the week, any week of the month, any month of the year on immigration reform, on the DREAM Act. Give us a vote, and it will pass the House of Representatives with a Republican majority. Give us the vote. They will not give us the vote because they don't want to resolve the problem. They want it as a polemic to use for electoral advantage.
Mr. Chairman,
The gentleman has expired. For purposes, the gentleman from Washington seek recognition.
move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.